Buddy Kent seemed at home in her tailored slacks and long-sleeved shirt open at the neck. In Paris or Greenwich Village, she held a photo album on her lap and pointed. That was Mickey Leff. She went to Paris to learn the language, then passed herself off as an Egyptian countess, she said. Buddy turned another page to a Daikin profile and tux, and that was Freddie. Her club was Chez Freddie. Her accent was Brooklyn French. Marlene Dietrich set it up for her. Our team of LGBTQ historians assigned to interview Buddy, an active member of SAGE, senior activist in the gay environment, about Stonewall, sighed in unison. Buddy flipped a page in her album to a dashing figure in white tie and tux. "Who's that?" I asked. She laughed. "That's me. When I was a chorus boy at the 181 Club, 181 2nd Avenue. My colleagues looked bewildered. We had talked about interviewing Buddy to record the fears and frustrations of older lesbians before gay liberation, but she hadn't shown much interest in our questionnaire. When did you come out? What was your first sexual experience? How did the gay liberation movement change your life? Were you at Stonewall? I asked her again what she knew about Stonewall. I was on my way home from St. Vincent's, she began. I'd been working as an X-ray technician at the hospital for about 5 years after the Page 3 closed down. That was the club Buddy owned with her girlfriend Jackie Howe and Kiki Hall, who had his own touring drag show. I saw the crowd, she continued, and walked over to Sheridan Square. It was my neighborhood. I asked her what she thought. It was amazing to see the gay boys give the cops a dose of their own medicine. They'd been beating up gay people, girls too, throwing them in jail in the village forever. She explained that gay clubs had mob protection. They paid off the cops, but it wasn't always enough. She went on to say that there had been a big raid at the 181 Club because the neighbors had complained about the boys and dykes going in and out in drag. We had to watch our P's and Q's, pimps and queers. After that, Buddy said, and suddenly looked pensive, somebody must have slipped up at Stonewall, must have missed a payment, or the heat was on from the top. Maybe it was an election year, always trying to clean up New York. But you know, she added in a serious tone, we would never have come out into the streets that way if it hadn't been for the Vietnam War protest and Dr. King's civil rights marches in the 60s. Like a revolution, I suggested. Long overdue, and we were proud to be part of it. With an air of nostalgia, Buddy turned back to the photo album and flipped another page. Who's that? It was a woman walking a snake on a leash down a city street. Buddy laughed. Oh, that's Sarita, the biggest strip act in New York. She worked with snakes. Snakes? Did this qualify as lesbian courage before the gay liberation movement? Yeah, Sarita made a lot of money, but snakes were not my style. She turned another page to what looked like a publicity photo of a young Buddy, one panel in tie, top hat and tails, the other stripped down to only the bare essentials. The caption read, Bubbles Kent, exotic dancer, a nightclub on Sullivan Street, Jimmy Kelly's. I tried not to sound puritanical. You had a strip act, male to female? Yeah, Buddy smiled. I guess now they'd call it trans. It was always around. The Wall Street gang, the mobsters, the bridge and tunnel crowd. That's what they came down to the village to see. We were way ahead of our time. Yes, there was a village nightlife before, and way before Stonewall.